everybody, and welcome back to Mopar Mike's Garage. Today we're going to be talking about a different truck project, getting you introduced to our 1975 D600 Dodge dump truck. In my last video, when I talked about the General and the 68 C500, I'm kind of breezed over this one just because I think it deserves its own video. So we'll check this one out and see what's up with it. So this guy here, like I said, it's a 1975 Dodge D600 single axle 5-yard dump truck. I picked that up a couple years ago because I was in need of a dump truck for some of the dirt work that I was doing out around my property. And so I was in the market, and this one happened to come up, so I knew it was destiny, because it's not often you see a Dodge like this around this area, at least.
On your density.
So it was a Craigslist find. Bought it from a guy that owned a roofing company who was upgrading to a pickup with a dump trailer, because this thing doesn't generally go far or very fast. So we'll start talking about the drivetrain here. So this one here, we'll pop the hood. All right, so we got the hood up on this thing. So this one is actually a big block 361 Chrysler motor. When I bought it, the motor had a fresh rebuild, new clutch. So it runs good. It does have an electric fuel pump, but that was really the only thing changed on it. I think it might have a newer Holley carburetor, but tons of space in this engine bay for this one. As you can see, the truck was originally red. Somebody painted it this nice blue color. So basically this is built as a heavier version of like the Power Wagon chassis. It has the same cab as all of your 70s, 80s trucks. So just the long hood and fenders with the big flares to help cover the wider wheelbase. As you can see, it's a little dirty in there, but not too bad. This truck as a whole is actually in pretty decent shape. It's got a little rust at the top of the fenders in the front, and then the real kind of odd areas, the back of the hood here, along the bottom edge, kind of along this seam, and then the top of the hood, front of the hood along that seam as well. But she's a pretty original piece. It's coupled to a 5-speed trans with a 2-speed rear end. Right now I don't think the 2-speed works, and I might be stuck in low because I can only do about 52 miles an hour. But that, in this thing, that kind of feels like you're moving pretty fast. So, and then yeah, just a little spot at the back of the fenders here. So they did a little Bondo work on it when they painted it last. The steps need a little loving too. But otherwise, you'll have to excuse all the tape all over it. It wasn't coming off very good in the cold, but that was part of my redneck light display this year. So that's why it's covered in tape. Not because I've got some weird obsession with taping stuff, but it just wasn't coming off good in the 20-degree weather. So the only unfortunate thing about this truck is it's got juice brakes with lock ring 9x20 tires. So tires are basically impossible to find. And because it's a 600, not a larger one, it's got the 6-bolt hubs. So kind of an odd size. You can't just go get wheels for that, unfortunately. The bigger ones had 10 bolts, and then you could switch it over to the Bud style hub, but we're not that lucky. But the tires in this thing are actually in really good shape. I just started doing the front brakes. I had a blown wheel cylinder on the passenger side. So I haven't done the driver's side yet. I know I should have did them both at the same time, but I was kind of in a pinch and needed this thing to run. So we made it happen, but had a lot of help from the team of guys at Allretta Truck Parts to get me the right brake stuff. But if anybody's doing brakes on a medium-sized truck like this, let me know. And I can put a video with all the parts, part numbers, the Dorman stuff, all the kits that were used. But we'll take a look inside here. The dump body's pretty solid. It's got a manual tailgate. We've got in-cab gas tank on this thing. You know, really spice things up. So we're pretty plain Jane on the interior here. Hand crank windows, steel door panels. The dash is the same dash as your 70s pickup trucks. So not much different there. Bench seat, rear window that you can't see anything out of. Passengers the same way. Like all the rest of my trucks, this one needs to be cleaned out. Also, big giant Dodge steering wheel. This one does have a radio, unlike the C500. Doesn't work, but it's got one. Somebody added a temp gauge because I take it the original temp gauge doesn't work. The alternator gauge doesn't work. Fuel gauge works. I found that out when I bought it and I ran it out of fuel. And speedo doesn't work, but doesn't really go fast enough to break any laws, so that's a plus. We got our lights down here. Most of those work. Choke down here. Horn button, because evidently the original one must gave up the ghost here or something. We'll have to look at fixing that and get rid of that one. Also probably put a manlier horn on this thing. We're missing a windshield wiper. And this thing, I know it's a little dusty, but this thing has the cleanest glove box cover I've ever seen. So that was pretty cool. But, so yeah, bench seat, I think they recovered. I don't think it's factory like this, but it's nice. It does the job. There's our 5-speed, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 reverse, and then our little splitter for the rear end that doesn't work the greatest. We've got our PTO down here, little focus for our dump body and the lever to dump it. So windshield's a little foggy. I got a big old chip right in my line of sight from the last time I had to run in and get some insulation for the house with this thing. Some kid with tires hanging way out on his F-150 flipped up a stone and took a big old bite out of my windshield. That was pretty disappointing. Obviously, can't exactly chase them down in this thing because it doesn't move like a bolt of lightning. No headliner in here. It's all just, you know, plain Jane. Not much to it. Cab light doesn't work, but all little things that can be fixed. You know, nothing we can't handle here compared to some of the other undertakings. So yeah, overall, very, very clean truck for what it is. There's one hole in the floorboard over there, but we can take care of that. That's pretty minor. The frame on this thing is all right. It's a 50-year-old truck that it's double framed. And this side's actually pretty decent. It's got a couple spots where it's rust jacking and pushing out a little bit, but for what I use it for, it's perfect. It's not a DOT truck or anything like that. I load it up with clay and drive across my land and dump it. So it serves me a purpose. Maybe one day we'll get to repowering and doing this thing. I do think it would look sick with a nice set of aluminum floats on the front and some super singles on the back here. That'd be all right in my book. But Yeah, so I've coined this one the Prospector just because I'm always playing in the dirt with it. And I found a really nice set of Prospector badges actually at Mopars in the park one year. So it just seemed like destiny. But that's about it. I think I've got some pictures and videos here that I'll insert in of this thing doing some labor. It does pair very nicely with my 1970 John Deere 401C tractor backhoe. So they work well together, but I got it stuck once and I'll put that video in, but that's how I dinged up the bumper. But evidently it must be a weak point on all of them where the bolt hole is, because I think on this side it was welded up once and cracked. That wasn't for me. This one was for me. That one's dinged up in the same manner, so doesn't really surprise me at all. But overall, yeah, big truck. Fun. This is one of my 5 trucks. This is one of the 2 that run.
Such junk.
So I don't have much for plans of tearing this one down anytime soon, because if I need to get something and my pickup is out of commission, this is an emergency spare, although we don't drive it in winter anymore. But it gets what I need to get done, and it's pretty cool. So eventually we got to do some work on the lighting, and one of the headlights is out, so maybe we'll upgrade those to some of the new Holley factory looking replacements, and some new turn signals, and get the lights working good on it, and figure out some of our gauges and charging issues and whatnot. Try to spruce her up. We'll probably do the brakes on the other side too here on this thing in the not so distant future. But yeah, that's the Prospector for you. It's a fun old truck. The girls love riding in it, so I guess I can't ask for much more than that. Until next time, smoke them if you got them. No, I bought it that way.
You want it that way?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Put the clutch in, yep, and pull back. There you go. Now clutch out and gas. Hey, 4th to 5th. Woohoo!